Hey citizens, welcome back to the channel. And today's Man City news video we talked about Manchester City have made initial contact regarding a possible transfer move for a Tottenham defender. Up next, why Man City's move for Enzo Maresca has not been completely finalized yet, and a major Premier League club has entered the race to sign Bernardo Silva. But first citizens, make sure to like the video and check your subscription, so you don't miss any updates about the Man City. One of the biggest questions facing Manchester City right now is actually pretty simple. What does this team look like without Pep Guardiola controlling every detail? Because the early signs suggest the club are preparing for a very different version of Man City football, and the Pedro Porro links might be the clearest clue yet. According to reports from Spain, Man City have already made contact over a potential move for the Tottenham fullback. On the surface, it looks like a standard transfer story, but tactically? It says a lot more. Porro is not a conservative defender. He's aggressive, vertical, attack-minded. At Spurs, he's practically played like a winger at times. Constant overlaps, early crosses, underlapping runs. He thrives in chaos and transition. That's interesting because Guardiola's Man City often controlled games through patience and structure. Maresca may still value possession, but this could signal a shift toward more direct width and faster attacking patterns. And honestly, Man City probably need that evolution. Last season exposed some physical limitations in the squad. Too many moments where the tempo dropped, especially against younger, more aggressive teams. Signing someone like Porro injects energy instantly. But here's the dilemma for Man City fans. Do you spend £50 million on a specialist right-back when Matheus Nunes has unexpectedly looked excellent in that hybrid role already? Nunes brought athleticism and recovery pace that Man City lacked at times, so this becomes less about desperation and more about identity. Are Man City trying to rebuild smartly, or are they chasing established names to stabilize the post-Pep era? That's where Hugo Viana's role becomes massive. The Man City sporting director isn't just buying players, he's helping define what Manchester City become next. Whether that's Porro, Guevara Red, Wesley, or Michael K. The profile matters as much as the talent itself. Because Man City fans aren't just watching a transfer window unfold anymore, they're watching the construction of an entirely new era. My friend Man City fan, would you rather trust Matheus Nunes at right back or spend big on Porro? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Manchester City may already know who they want to lead the club after Pep Guardiola, but the deal for Enzo Maresca still isn't completely finished, and honestly, that detail matters more than people think. Because this isn't just another managerial appointment, this is the most important decision Manchester City have made in a decade. Reports suggest Maresca has agreed to the project in principle, with a 3-year contract expected. But negotiations are still ongoing over the finer details. That tells you Man City are being extremely careful about what comes next after Guardiola's era officially ended. And you can understand why. Pep didn't just leave behind trophies, he left behind an entire football structure. The training methods, the dressing room hierarchy, the tactical identity, even the backroom staff departures this week showed how deep Guardiola's influence really went. Xabier Mancisidor, Lorenzo Buenaventura, Manuel Estiarte, Pepijn Lijnders, Kolo Touré, these weren't background figures, they were part of the machine behind one of the greatest periods English football has ever seen. So when Maresca arrives with his own staff, including former Man City goalkeeper Willy Caballero, it signals something important. This won't simply be Pep Guardiola light. That's crucial for Man City fans to understand. Yes, Maresca learned under Guardiola, yes. His tactical ideas are heavily influenced by positional football, but bringing his own people suggests he wants authority and identity from day one, not just continuity. And honestly, that's probably the right approach. The worst thing Man City could do now is hire someone who feels trapped trying to imitate Guardiola every single week. Football moves too quickly for that. What happens over the next few days could shape the next 5 years at the Etihad, because once this contract is signed, Manchester City officially enter the post-Pep era, and nobody truly knows how that story will unfold yet. So citizens, if Enzo Maresca officially becomes the next Manchester City manager, do you think he can successfully build his own identity after Pep Guardiola? Share your opinion in the comments. There are some players who leave a football club, and then there are players who leave part of the club's identity behind with them. For Manchester City, Bernardo Silva absolutely falls into the second category. And now, with reports linking him to Chelsea after his Etihad farewell, Man City fans are being forced to process something emotional, the complete end of Guardiola's golden generation. Bernardo wasn't just another technically gifted midfielder in Pep's system. He was the system's problem solver. Need control in midfield? Bernardo. Need energy pressing high? Bernardo. Need someone to survive under pressure at the Bernabeu or Anfield? Again, Bernardo. That's why replacing him is almost impossible tactically. What made him special wasn't raw statistics, it was intelligence, the way he manipulated space, escaped pressure in tight areas, and gave Man City rhythm in chaotic moments. Guardiola trusted him in virtually every big game for a reason, so hearing Chelsea are now entering the race feels strange. Especially because this isn't the Chelsea of 5 years ago, under a younger project and potentially with Enzo Maresca connections influencing conversations. The move actually makes some football sense. Bernardo could instantly become the experienced controller inside a very unpredictable Chelsea side, but emotionally? It would be difficult for Man City supporters to watch. A move to Spain always felt easier to accept. Barcelona and Atletico Madrid represent fresh chapters abroad. Chelsea feels different because it keeps Bernardo inside the Premier League spotlight, potentially competing directly against the club he helped build into Europe's dominant force. And this story matters because Bernardo's exit symbolizes more than one transfer. Guardiola gone, John Stones gone, Bernardo leaving. These are not isolated departures anymore. This is the dismantling of an era that delivered 6 Premier League titles, a treble, and one of the greatest footballing dynasties England has ever seen. In my view, the question now isn't whether change is happening, it's whether the next version of Manchester City can carry the same soul without the players who created it. My friend Man City fan, how would you feel if Bernardo Silva ended up joining Chelsea after leaving Manchester City? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tottenham are back in the conversation for Savinho, and this time, it feels like the situation has genuinely moved from interest to action. After a chaotic season that nearly dragged Spurs into relegation trouble, there's a clear sense that the squad needs reshaping, new ideas, new profiles, and above all, more attacking unpredictability, and Savinho fits that profile almost too neatly. What makes this story interesting is the contrast with last summer. Tottenham were already willing to go big. Reports suggested a £70 million approach, but Manchester City shut the door at the time. Pep Guardiola saw him as a long-term project, someone to develop inside Man City's structured attacking system rather than move on immediately. But football moves quickly. This season, Savinho hasn't had the minutes to really establish himself at the Etihad, and in a squad stacked with attacking depth. That development pathway suddenly looks crowded rather than clear. Now, according to reports relayed by Fabrizio Romano, Spurs are back at the table, negotiations are active again, and importantly, the player himself is open to the move. That detail changes everything. From Man City's perspective, this is where modern squad management comes into play under Hugo Viana. Not every young signing is meant to become a decade-long starter. Some are strategic assets. Develop, evaluate, then decide. And at around £60 million, this is no small decision. Tactically, Savinho is exactly what Spurs lack. Direct dribbling, wide isolation ability, and the courage to beat defenders one-on-one. For a team trying to rebuild identity after a poor season, that kind of profile can shift attacking dynamics instantly. In my opinion, though, it raises a familiar question in this new era. Are we seeing a squad evolution, or the first signs of a wider reshuffle under the post-Guardiola structure? Because moves like this aren't just transfers anymore. They're signals of a changing philosophy at the Etihad. So citizens, would you sell Savinho to Tottenham for around £60 million, or keep him as a long-term project? Share your opinion in the comments. You've been watching the Citizens News Fan channel. Hit the like button and subscribe, so you don't miss any updates about the Man City.